Like Tucker Carlson, I am back. How his cancellation and return has inspired me. And I thought the D in democracy was supposed to stand for debate, discussion, disagreement. So why are the leaders of the two political parties, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, shying away from legitimate debate? Welcome to Counterthought. I am back from my unplanned 1 month break. The last episode I did was when Trump was indicted by Alvin Bragg in New York City, which I can't believe was 1 month ago, but work got a little bit busy for me, unplanned, but also expected. I took a new job in January and I expected there to be times when, my nights I'd be working long nights. And sure enough, that came to pass. And I just couldn't create an episode. I know it's one a week, but I just couldn't do it. But I am glad to be back. I remembered all my passwords. I remembered how to set up the studio. I'm sitting here recording right now, so all is good. But a lot has happened in the news and the political sphere in 1 month, right? A news cycle lasts 24 hours, 48 hours. But there's so much that has happened in our country. One of the main things that has occurred was the cancellation of Tucker Carlson from Fox News about 2 weeks ago. He signed off a Friday show. Seemed like he was coming back on Monday. The information that's come out was that he was expecting, to return to work on Monday. His staff, his producers and everything were producing a show for that Monday night, that 8 p.m. slot, when they found out that he was not returning. And then there's been a lot of drama, a lot of leaks and everything over the past 2 weeks. And finally, on Tuesday of this week, Tucker Carlson reemerged or returned. This is, I think, his second video that he's released, but this one was the official return of him and his own platform. He set up a website, tuckercarlson.com, and he announced that he is going to be creating a similar version of his show that he had on Fox News. I'm sure there's some legal reasons why he can't do the exact same thing, but he is taking his talents to Twitter. Twitter is not, there's no agreement or anything like that between Twitter and him. They're not giving him any money. He's going to be subjected to the same types of monetization policies as any other creator on the platform. Very similar, I think, to YouTube and Rumble, based on the number of ads and monetization and all of their policies and the different metrics you have to hit. You can earn significant amounts of money on those platforms. But the whole Tucker situation inspired me. This podcast, this week we hit the 2-year mark. So thank you to all of you who have listened and have watched. We started out again, just only audio for the first, I think, 7 months or so. And then for the last 16 months have been audio and video. So thank you for, listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. And thank you for watching on YouTube and Rumble. But Tucker's cancellation inspired me. One of the things that he said soon after, when he, his first video is, when you get too close to the truth, and he reiterated this in Tuesday's announcement. So when you get too close to the truth, or when you start asking questions that people don't want to answer, then you are you're doing something right. But he also said that that's when people want to shut you up. And when he was canceled, there were many in the left-wing media that were praising him. Those on The View, they started the chant, like, na, 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 hey, hey, goodbye. AOC, so like, love to see him canceled. It couldn't have happened to a better guy. But I can't help but going to sleep at night and thinking that, like in a Marvel movie or whatever, there's going to be a hand that reemerges, that comes through the screen at the end of the credits, and he's going to return. Well, sure enough, he has. But what has inspired me about the whole Tucker situation is the fact that he is not limiting himself to, not the stereotype, but he's not limiting himself to just his belief, his ideology. He's not saying, I'm a conservative and conservatives have to believe this, so this is everything I'm going to believe. No, he's he's been open about this in various podcasts and other interviews that, hey, I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to share my true beliefs. And if that takes me a little out of bounds of I guess his ideology, political ideology, his political, beliefs, such as conservatism, or being an independent, or just being an old school Republican, he's fine with that. It's to be true to yourself. And that resonated with me because I have done some of that myself, but there have been a couple of things where I've, kind of held my tongue for whatever reason, no really good reason, because I'm in control of everything that I produce here. I don't have any bosses or anything like that. I'm my own boss. But that resonated with me and has inspired me to do the same. I don't have investigative journalists or anything like that to call upon and work and, to help me in that, in that way. But when it comes to sharing my ideas, my beliefs, my values that may stray from, the conservative flag that I hold, I'm going to do that. I've done that a little bit, with my red flag law episode. I've done that in some other episodes, talking about student debt. But you'll notice in that episode, I didn't fully say whether I believed whether or not there should be forgiveness or not. I stopped short of that. I kind of walked up to the edge, but I didn't fully commit. So instances like that, I'm no longer going to tiptoe. I'm just going to share my beliefs, be true to myself, and be comfortable with that. So I'm glad that Tucker is resurfacing. We'll see how everything goes with Twitter, and if that is just step one of his next phase of his career. He has a website. Twitter, I think, has subscriptions, and then you can pay, I think, during live streams and have like a super or something. I forget what it's called. Like $20 or whatever, and all these different ways to earn money. In the videos he's posting so far, getting like 10 plus million views for every single video. How's that going to translate to like a full episode? Is he going to go for 45 minutes like he used to if you took out all the commercials on his 8 p.m. cable news slot on Fox News? Or is it going to be shorter? My podcast episodes typically range between 20, 25, 30, maybe 35 minutes when I'm by myself. If I have a guest, I get up to 50 minutes to an hour or something like that. So it's yet to be seen how he's going to transition and structure this new platform of his, and the legal aspect and everything going to Fox News. We'll see how that plays out as well. But Tucker Carlson and his whole situation has inspired me to be true to my beliefs, to my values. And if that takes me a little bit out of bounds of conservatism, then that's fine. I'm going to be okay with that. And and if you're listening and you want to, yell at me for, not being true to being a conservative Republican, then by all means do that. Then let's have the discussion, a debate, a disagreement. That's what we are supposed to be able to do with free speech, which brings me to the main topic of this episode, which is Joe Biden and Donald Trump saying that they do not want to debate in the primaries. They don't want to debate in the primaries because their lead is too big. Joe Biden, he's the incumbent. He has no real challengers, so to speak, although Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is polling at about 18%. Marianne Williamson is, I think, maybe around 1%, maybe 2%. I know the DNC has certain, qualifications to be able to get on the debate stage. I know the RNC does as well. I can't remember the exact percentage, if you have to be 2% to 5%, somewhere around in there to be on the debate stage. And I think that's fine. I think I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is the leaders of these parties, Joe Biden's case being the incumbent, and then Donald Trump being the front runner in the Republican, primary process so far, which, again, this is all very early. And I think the whole election season process is way too long. I mean, we're talking about having the first couple of debates here, I think, in maybe or July and August of this year, then you have like an entire 14 months to go through the primary process, and then the general process, I think, begins in March of 2024 and lasts 7 to 8 months. I mean, it is just ridiculous how long this lasts. It's crazy. But I believe, regardless of how big your lead is, that you need to debate. I mean, for the sake of democracy, right? And both parties say, "Oh, we're for democracy," but then yet the leaders, the frontrunners of each party, don't want to debate. Like, why? What are you afraid of? Are you not confident in yourself that you can beat someone in a debate that's polling at 2%, 5%, 15%, maybe 20 or 25% in like DeSantis's case against Donald Trump? I mean, what are you afraid of? That's not very democratic. You don't want to debate because you say your lead is too big. You should be confident in yourself to be able to just be like, okay, this little person who has 2%, I'm going to wipe the floor with them. This will be a piece of cake. Take 2 hours of my time on cable news and be done with it. I've heard similar arguments to not debating when it comes to sports. Huge sports fan here. In what I've seen, or when this has occurred, has been like in college football. College football, you have your regular season conference champion. In my case, University of Florida, Florida Gators. So let's say my guys went 12-0, and they won the Eastern Division by 2 games, and then now they have to square off against a team in the West. But let's say the West didn't have a high caliber team. Let's say the best team in the West went 8-4. 8-4 versus 12-0. There have been arguments of, okay, well, since the 12-0 team, since the Gators are going to be playing for, the national championship, qualifying for the national championship, or in this case now the college football playoff, they have nothing to gain from this game. They're 12-0. They're the number 1 team in the country. So why should the number 1 team in the country have to play this unranked or maybe the top 20 team who had an 8-4 record, who we know the Gators are way better than this team? Why do they have to play this game? They have nothing to gain. They have everything to lose. But that's not a competitor's mentality. If you're a true competitor, you should be confident. Sure, the injury argument, someone could get injured. Okay. But from a pure competition standpoint, you should be like, shoot, we're 12-0. We're going to wipe the floor with this 8-4 team. Get out of here. Get out of Atlanta. That's where they play the game for the SEC championship. And we are going to qualify and expect on Sunday, when the playoff announcements are made, that we are going to be one of those teams that is selected. You shouldn't shy away from playing a team that you think is, or maybe even in this case, is not as good as you. You should be so confident in your abilities that you can just go out, handle your business, and move on. And I believe that's the same for these debates coming up in the election cycle for the 2024 election, whether it's in the primary process. You should be debating. I mean, what, are you not confident enough in your policies, in your record, to debate someone who's polling below you, well below you? The recent polls, I think, has Trump at like a +30 against DeSantis, who is in second place. And then Joe Biden is +30 plus as well against RFK Jr. What you should step right up on that debate stage. For all of this talk that we've heard over the last 6 coming on 7 years of we're fighting for democracy, from both sides, debate is part of democracy. Debate is how you present yourself, how others see you beyond just the political ads. Political ads, you can, make yourself look perfect and say all the right things. The debate stage, you have the moderator and they're asking you questions, and you got to be on your feet, and everything. And it gives people, I guess, it removes the veil so they can see you as who you really are and get a better picture of who you are and of your policies and your values and so on and so forth when you're on the debate stage. It's okay to debate, to have disagreement, to have a discussion. Like that should be, we should welcome that. That should be encouraged. And I'm glad those in each party, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, there are those who are saying like, you should really debate. Like there are those on TV who have said like, oh no, like, why does Biden need to debate? He's the incumbent. Like this is ridiculous. And those on the Republican side are like, why does Donald Trump even need to debate? He himself, though, has said he does not want to debate. Why? Be confident in yourself. If you believe you can be the president of the United States, then you should believe in your policies and your abilities. So go out there, wipe the floor with those who are polling, second, third, fourth place, 20, 30, 40, 80 points below you, and just handle your business. Why are some of us okay with the fact that we want someone to be the leader of our country, and in the case of the United States, the leader of the free world, and be okay with them not debating? Did they really think that one slip up, let's say they have one bad debate, is going to sink their campaign if they're the front runner by 30, 40, 50 points? There are multiple debates. There's, I think, at least 3 in the primary, and then I think there are at least 3 in the general. Plenty of opportunity if you have a slip up to regain your footing, and with the sizable leads that each of these candidates have, I don't think one slip up is going to sink either of them. And now I know you might be saying, okay, well, Joe Biden is so old, that's why they don't want him out there, and I agree. But take Joe Biden out of it, and we would want any Democrat running for office, running for the president of the United States, whether it's in the general or the primary, to debate. That is what we should welcome. And it's laughable, it's not even head scratching because it's so predictable. But to hear those that cry about democracy being under attack, and then those same individuals also in support of no debate, means that these people are not serious. And if they think they're serious, then they don't know what they are talking about. We should encourage this debate. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, they should be on the debate stage in the primary, debating their fellow Democrat and Republican candidates. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Be confident. Be the powerhouse that you are, right? Going back to the sports analogy, be that 12-0 team, that undefeated team, handle your business, and then move on to the next debate. Handle your business, move on, win the general election for your party, and then square off again in the primary, and then square off again in the general. We should not be okay with no debates. Debate should be encouraged. This is how we hone our skills. This is how we refine our stances, our platforms, our values, our iron sharpens iron, so to speak, right? And this is how you do that through debate. If you go unchallenged, then you don't have a way to sharpen your skills. You'll never know how good your arguments actually are, how your beliefs stack up against someone else, against, being peppered with questions. This is a chance for you to not only show the people who you are and to back up your values and your policy ideas and everything else, but debate through free speech. The First Amendment is at the heart of democracy. We are electing representatives, and to blindly put representatives into office, which we have done way too much. And I say we as the American people, not necessarily you, but we as the American people, we've become lazy. We just vote, red all the way down the ticket, blue all the way down the ticket, don't do any kind of research. Too many of us have become low informational voters, low IQ voters. It's up, D next to the name, vote. R next to the name, vote. And we see that leads to problems. Those representatives then get into office and we're like, whoa, we don't necessarily agree with that. Or maybe the person we voted for didn't win. We saw a lot of this in the 2022 midterms where a lot of Republicans, we expected a red wave, but that did not happen. There are a lot of candidates who we expected to win, but did not win. Maybe they were a little too extreme and, they just didn't perform well. The argument is that some of them were bad candidates. But the expectation, I think, was that because they had an R by their name, you're just going to go and vote and put them into office. Well, that didn't happen. We need to thoroughly vet these individuals, and debate is one way to do that. So Joe Biden and Donald Trump, they must debate. I hope they both come to their senses and debate, and that their handlers and the DNC and the RNC will make them debate, because that, in the name of democracy, in the name of this constitutional republic that we have, they need to debate. They need to debate their challengers in the primary, and then they need to debate each other, or whoever the nominees are coming out of both parties. The nominees for the Democrat and the Republican Party need to debate at least 3 times in the general. 3 times in the general. But in order to save democracy, in order to truly believe in democracy, we have to believe in debate. We have to believe in the discussion, the disagreement of ideas. To me, that is at the heart of the D in democracy. Debate, disagreement, and discussion. Not only do we need that from the leaders of the parties, from the representative of our parties, but we as individuals should do that ourselves. Know why you believe what you believe, and be open to conversations about that. That is the only way, not the only way, but that is one way to strengthen our country, to strengthen ourselves individually, and to strengthen our country. Going back to Tucker Carlson, we saw him being canceled because he was asking questions no one wanted to answer. No one wants to open up that closet door. No one wants to look behind that bed or under that bed. We don't need to silence speech. We don't need to silence individuals. We don't need to just assume that this person is the right person to represent us. We need to thoroughly vet the individuals, have the discussions, have the debates before giving people the power to represent us, and also to hold them accountable before giving them that power. So Joe Biden and Donald Trump, they need to debate. And Tucker Carlson, again, his whole situation, and we'll see how the legal aspect plays out, but his cancellation and now reemergence and the values he is standing by, has inspired me moving forward to do the same. Not to worry about the flag that I'm holding, the conservative flag that I'm holding. Yes, I'm going to probably line up with that 90% of the time, 95% of the time. But I'm going to stay true to my convictions and share those with you here through this podcast. And I encourage you to comment on my YouTube videos, on the Rumble videos. Go to, my Instagram, my Facebook page, and comment on the post for each episode. And if you disagree, please share. Please share. Maybe there's something, maybe a disagreement that could shape my opinion moving forward. Right? Just as much as I'm on here talking, I encourage you to talk just as much and do so with me, whether you agree, disagree, or, are impartial. Just share with me your reaction, your response to what it is I share with you. Let's have that discussion and see where it leads. Hi, I'm Brian Kletter, the creator and host of the Counterthought Podcast. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to like it, and then also check out these 2 videos and subscribe to the channel. For more daily content from me, you can find me on Instagram at CounterThoughtCEO and the official Counterthought Instagram page at counter_thought. Thank you for watching, and spread the word.